live at the Warriors Healing Center. I'm Robert Ishoy, your host, along with Erik Z. And yes, he's in the back right now, but he's going to join us up front. Eric's going to...
Getting my coffee, getting my ketones again. So.
He's part of our show tonight. Quick reminder, just if you watched the show last week, fantastic. We heard about Doc's watering hole, and they are opening tomorrow. Their grand opening tomorrow, starting at 4.
4 o'clock.
You don't want to miss that. If you didn't miss the show last week, this place is incredible.
Ribbon cutting ceremony with the doctorate couple out over at Doc's watering hole.
Yeah. So I know me and my wife are going to be there for sure. So I'm going to put my cowboy boots on. So
pull 'em up high.
All right. But we have a new guest tonight, and yes, Rob Robertson. Now, Erik, I got to tell you, this guy, I've been doing some research on him, okay? I got to know who my guests are.
What do you know?
He's got a lot of irons in the fire. We're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight, so not just one thing. Well, first of all, him and his wife have a bed and breakfast in Tombstone.
Yes, we do. The Dragon's Keep Inn, Store and More on the corner of 11th and Allen Street.
So it's right there in the heart of Tombstone.
Yeah, well, where the birdcage is, we're half a mile east of that. We're actually about 4/10 exactly, but we're close enough that you can get there within about a 2-3 minute walk.
Walking distance.
Yeah, it's walking distance, absolutely.
So I could go to Tombstone, get a room, hit the saloons.
Yep.
Because they're the western town, we got to call them saloons.
Got to walk streets.
Yeah.
Got to walk streets.
Yeah. And we're right across the street from one. You could stagger back when you're done. So.
And you no problem.
No
you don't
problem.
have to drive. Just walk over and go home. So, is this new?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The home was originally owned by another couple over there, and they decided to sell it. They'd originally been caretakers for a Baptist church, I guess it was in the building, and then they bought it from them, decided they didn't want the home anymore, so they put it up for sale. And we were looking for a location for a bed and breakfast. The realtor agent that we had took us over there and looked at it. And the places that we looked at, it seemed to be the best one physically set up on inside for what my wife wanted to do as far as running a bed and breakfast. So yeah, the building itself is about 25 years old, somewhere between 25 and 30. There was some discrepancy in some of the paperwork about whether or not it was built 93 or 96. But the building is in excellent condition according to the inspectors and everything. So
okay, great.
Yeah.
How many rooms?
We have 2 rooms that we're renting for the bed and breakfast part, and we have 2 RV slots that are external to the building that somebody can use also. So they would have basically the privacy, of their RV. Plus, they could still come in the morning and get the breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's still built in as part of their RV rental. If they want to do that, they can come on inside and get something to eat.
All right. Well, just questions I have in my mind. Are bathrooms? They got.
Yep, they each have a private bathroom.
That's important.
Yeah. The one bathroom actually has a whirlpool tub in it.
Really?
Yeah, in the shower portion of it.
Okay.
And then the other bathroom is smaller. It's just got a walk-in shower in it. But it's still, both rooms are very nice.
Nice. Yeah, you don't want to have to walk down the hall and share a bathroom.
Yeah, and some bed and breakfasts are like that. They're more the hostel style.
Yeah.
Where you come in and you're sharing a bathroom maybe with 6 or 8 other people. And,
That would never fly with my wife.
Yeah, that'd be rough. But I mean, I guess when you're a kid or whatever, you really don't care about such things. You're using the hostel system, but no, for us, they each have their own restrooms. They have access to the kitchen if they should need it. It's not too far up the way. We have a very large common area there that we can use for events. If somebody wants to book an event with us, maybe they don't want to stay there, but maybe they want to have a business meeting. More than welcome to come there and have your business meeting and go tour some of the parts of Tombstone while you're at lunch. You want to hold a wedding, we can do that. I'm an ordained minister with the Universal Life Church as well. So if somebody wants to have their wedding there or get their vows renewed, we can hook them up with that. It's just there's just a lot of stuff you can do with the facility.
What made you pick? I love the name, Dragon's Keep. Okay, I mean that just how did you get the name?
So I cannot tell you how much money that me and my wife have invested in dragon figurines and dragon statues and dragon lore and dragon this and dragon that. So a few years ago, we had tried to start up a New Age store, and it kind of fell apart. We did it as an online business, and it was right after the Great Recession, and nobody was spending any money. So it was probably a bad time to do it, but we had originally named that the Dragon's Keep. So when we got ready to do this, and we were batting around the idea of doing another Western-themed bed and breakfast over in Tombstone, my wife said, they've got a ton of those over there. Let's go in an entirely different direction. Let's do the dragon theme to it, and let's call it the Dragon's Keep Inn. And then we had a spot downstairs that you could do a store out of. So we're going to use that. It's going to be a gift shop and kind of a retro sci-fi, the toys and stuff like that are antiques that maybe people want to get rid of. We're going to sell those on consignment. But anyway, there's a store in the basement. And then also I do tarot readings, and you and I talked a little bit about that previous to this, that you also do that. But I also do tarot readings. So that's where the more part of it comes into.
The Dragon Keep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did I say last 2 weeks, Erik? I talked about what all these veteran-owned businesses have in common, and their dedication and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
That's innovation.
Very much.
He goes to a Western town, and instead of doing the Western theme, he does
an obvious Western theme. You just come out of the blue like dragons.
Dragon. Dragon. Yeah.
Well, there actually is a story over there about a dragon being in Tombstone in the 1880s or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on the. If you go back and look, you can find it on the internet. But there's a legend over there that they were seeing pterodactyls, basically what everybody thinks that they were seeing, and made the Tombstone epitaph and all this. Yeah,
no kidding.
It was an actually real reported story that everybody was seeing this creature over there flying around.
And some of them were calling it a
dragon. Yeah.
Wow. So now it's real fitting. Dragon's Keep. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it just turned out that we already owned the name, so we just expanded it from there.
So it just sounds like a fun place to stay in.
That's what we hope it is. There's going to be a lot of other stuff there, and I know you want to talk about this later on. But my wife and I, quote unquote, own a social group. Actually, it's owned by several of us. I guess I should say. It's not fair to just say me and my wife. Her and I are the ones who primarily take care of it. But it's called Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond. And it's basically just a social club for people who are interested in the sci-fi genre, fantasy genre, horror genre, whatever, that line of, thing that you were interested in. And so one of the things we've already got set up there, and you can go to our Facebook page, Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond, and we have it set up right now that we have a movie a month that we're going to be showing for if you want to come. There's limited seating. You kind of have to RSVP before, see how we're at. But if somebody wants to come and watch one of the films, they're more than welcome.
And where are these at?
They're at the Dragon's Keep Inn.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, right there in the common area. Yeah.
Okay.
So my wife said she just watched The Hobbit and Aquaman the other night, and she said it was just like being in a movie theater in there, the way we have it set up.
Really?
So yeah.
Now that sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, if you stay there, you get the
the
movie
there'll always be movies. Yeah, you can come out there in the common area and use the movie theater quality room to watch.
I think that a lot, because a lot of times when you stay in a typical hotel room, there's really nowhere to go other than your room.
Right.
And you get kind of stifled in there, So you like to be able to come out. So at this place, first of all, you have access to Tombstone. And then you have a common area where you can go out and say, hey, let's go out here and watch something or relax and not have to feel like we're just stuck in our room.
Right.
My
wife, the reason why she wanted to do a bed and breakfast, her degree when she graduates next year is going to be in hospitality management. And I guess she had read a series of books about a lady and her husband, I think, that owned a bed and breakfast. And one of the things that struck her was the dynamic of the conversations between the owners of the bed and breakfast and the guests that were staying there. And so that's what she's interested in, is being able to talk to people that are coming and going, the different guests and different places they're coming from. She just got a reservation from a guy in Germany that's going to be here for Eldorado Days. So she's real excited about, having somebody, an international guest, staying at the B&B, this early on and getting to meet them and find out, what their life is like and everything. So,
yeah, and I was thinking about that today. Is like, and I find this true in a lot of places, not just here, but usually people take for granted what's local.
Right.
I mean, you look at Tombstone, and people travel from around the world to go to this American Western town, from Europe, from Japan. I mean, they come here just to go to Tombstone. We live right here, and take it for granted a lot of times. He's like, when was the last time you've been to Tombstone? Like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. We lived over there from 2009 to 2012 before we moved over here to Sierra Vista, actually. And one of the things her and I have always made a habit of doing is about every 3 or 4 months we make the truck over there just to see what's changed, because there's been a lot of changes in some of the businesses and stuff over there. So we've kept up our love of Tombstone, even though the fact that we didn't live over there, and we went over there for a lot of the events. We went over there to meet a lot of people. A lot of the famous people that were in the Tombstone film. We met Buck Taylor over there. We've gotten to talk to Michael Bean. Probably half dozen times, I guess. We ran into him over there and talked to him. We went to events with him and whatnot. So it hasn't been just like a one-off thing for us. We actually go over there. Before this, we went over there quite a bit on our own just to visit and hang around.
So for locals, this sounds like a great option. You could literally just make it a single day. Go on a Saturday, walk Tombstone, have a room. That you can, when you're tired and you're like, okay, we're done walking the shops, go back to your room, relax a little bit. Then in the evening, you're out back in town, have dinner, hit the saloons.
Yeah, and then stagger back to your room.
Have a couple of drinks, or maybe a few drinks.
Yeah, maybe a few drinks.
And make it back. And then, you're right there. And so you could make literally a day trip that would be really wonderful. Do we have some comments?
Yes, I got one there asking me exactly where it's located at. So the address is 1027 East Allen Street. So if you go to the Birdcage, if you're coming off Fremont and you turn right onto 6th, I think it is, go to the Birdcage and make a left and travel down. It's about 0.4 miles from there. So it's about 0.4 miles east of the Birdcage.
Okay. So, and this is and you just opened this recently.
Well, actually, we had our soft opening. We've already had some guests in there. Our ribbon cutting is actually next Friday with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And then we're having an open house on that Saturday from 11 to 4. Now, in perfect candor, we still have a lot of work to do. Even after we get opened up, we're still going to have, the store is still in process of being put together. The tarot room's ready to go. The rooms to stay in are ready to go. The upper floor is ready to go, but we have some stuff downstairs that we're still working on.
All these dragon statues you have, any of them going to make their way in?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You can go right in the common area and see everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'd want to see, if I walked in there, I'd want to see those.
Of course, the king prize of that one is one I call Merlin. He's probably yay tall.
Really?
Yeah, he's a monster.
Really?
So, yeah.
So there's some decor that's going to...
Yeah, there is definitely some decor in there. And the rooms are done with the dragon's theme, inside the rooms. And there's some stuff right inside the foyer there that we have right as you walk in the door that kind of explains what the different types of dragons are. And then we actually named the rooms off of different types of dragons. There's a room called the Fire Dragon Room. The other one I think is called the Water Dragon Room. I think it's what my wife finally stuck on because it's blue.
I think, or was it air?
Might have been air.
Air. See, I've been doing my research. Yeah, the air room, the air dragon room, and the fire dragon room. The fire dragon room's the bigger one.
Yeah.
With the whirlpool.
Right.
See?
Yeah. So, and my wife is out there 24/7 right now, so she's a little bit more knowledgeable about things out there. I go out there to cut grass and do maintenance right now at this juncture. So, so anyway.
So it sounds like a place that you're pretty passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly for my wife. This is something she's wanted to do for a while. For the last couple of years, she went back to get her degree in hospitality management because she worked for the school system, and she was kind of interested in maybe improving her life with them. And then I think both of us had that itch to the dollar we made not necessarily going into anybody else's pockets. That's nothing against my present employer. I love working at Barnett's Towing. I have a boss there in Troy Barnett, that I couldn't pay that man back enough if I had to. Just kind of backing up a little bit on my history. About 10 years ago, my back just went to garbage from my military injuries. And I was trying to get a job, and I couldn't even get anybody to talk to me. And Troy Barnett gave me a job, and nobody else would even talk to me. And he's put up with me on and off for the last 11 years. and full time for the last 3 years for reasons I can't explain some days. And but no, working at Barnett's is a true joy. I love going to work there every day, and I plan on being there for a while longer, even though I have all these other things going on. Barnett's is something I still feel passionate about. And
is he a veteran?
He is not, but he is a tremendous supporter.
Okay.
And I know he's helped support Warrior Healing Center as well. So.
And I asked that question on purpose because that's what this show is all about. Yes, we are going to feature veterans and veteran business owners, veterans that are involved in the community, doing nonprofit work, all that kind of stuff. But it's also about other people that support veterans that in town. We're all linked together.
Right.
We're all linked together. And so, yeah, we have an emphasis. But, yeah, I like to hear those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Somebody that gave a veteran that needed a break.
Yeah, absolutely. I needed one, and he gave me one when nobody else would even talk to me.
And then you turn around.
Yeah.
And you turn around and do something brand new for the community.
Right.
So he helps you, and now you're turning around and providing something new for the community. Because we're about Cochise County, not just Sierra Vista.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, it really takes everybody helping everybody else. I come here for the Thursday night meetings as well. I probably won't make tonight's because I got some other stuff I got to do after this. But to even though I used to go to group support for my own purposes, now I feel like when I go to group support, I'm there for the other guys that are there to share my story, to tell them, to explain to them, hey guys, you don't have to be in pain, and you don't have to be upset, and you don't have to be depressed all the time. You can get out of this rut, and you can be a positive influence on your family, on your community, at your job, or wherever. It doesn't have to just be you sitting at home going, life is horrible.
And none of us are successful on our own.
No.
I mean, none of us. I mean, if you own a business, I mean, you're totally dependent on your customers and their support. If you have a job, you're dependent on your coworkers, your employer. And so it's just about people helping helping people. Yep. Yeah, and then it grows.
Right.
It grows. And, I think a lot of times, it's kind of tough, the economy right now. It's down. Mm-hmm. And we talked last week about, that ripple effect. It can be negative or it can be positive. And we're all about the positive.
Yeah.
Let's find out what's exciting in the community, what people are doing, and support them. Get out there. This idea to me sounds great. I could see going there and just spending a night, in the bed and breakfast, enjoy Tombstone. Don't get there enough. Like I said, I'm as guilty as everybody. It's right in my backyard. I probably haven't been back there in quite a few years, and enjoy Tombstone. Maybe even dress up a little, put my boots on, wear my cowboy hat.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Have a little fun and enjoy a day and an evening there, and at a really reasonable cost.
Yeah.
I saw the rates of your rooms. They're reasonable.
Yeah,
they're very reasonable.
Yeah, right now we're doing $100 for the Fire Dragon room, and $99 actually, and then $79 for the Air Dragon room. Yeah. So I mean,
that's more than reasonable.
And plus you get breakfast.
You get breakfast. Yeah. Oh, okay. One more thing, and then we'll move on. Tell me about the breakfast. I want to hear. He wants to hear about the breakfast.
Yeah. So
gotta know.
Yeah. So my wife's pretty flexible on such things, and I think her plan right now is to maybe talk to people and find out maybe what they want, so she doesn't fix something that they don't want, so to speak. So the other morning when she made breakfast for the crew that she had in there, I think they just wanted eggs, sausage, toast, and biscuits and gravy, I think is what they ended up having. So, yeah, I mean, she's pretty much so sticking with the staples. As she gets more involved, and I know how this is going to work out, and she's got downtime, I guarantee you there's going to be baked goods all over that place. So,
okay.
Okay. Yeah, I promise you, she'll get bored and,
I don't think you can ever go wrong with biscuits and gravy.
But,
do we have any fans of biscuits and gravy out there? Just put a little note in there. It's I'm a big fan for hash browns. Maybe throw those in.
Yeah.
If you make good, I try to make good hash browns at home, and I struggle for some reason.
Yeah.
There's got to be a secret to them that I don't know. I try, but they don't come out quite like what I want. But just so a good, hearty breakfast. We're not talking like hotel rooms where you go in and you get they're offering a yogurt and
The continental breakfast.
Yes, yeah, and you're kind of like, well,
some of them are good, some of them, well, we'll
just some of them belong on that continent where it came from.
But you're actually offering a real breakfast.
Yeah, this is a home cooked meal,
cooked meal, which is again a big bonus.
Yeah, it's not something that she poured out of a carton somewhere and. These are real eggs that she got from the store, and this is real bacon that she got from the store, and this is real ham, and so on and so forth, and pancakes made from batter, and all that stuff. So it's not. This isn't a $1.99 that she ordered in a pack, and we'll just microwave that right up for you, and you'll be good to go. And here's some Cheerios.
One more time, next week, grand opening.
Yeah, Friday is I think the ribbon cutting is at 1.
1 o'clock.
And that's just with the city of Tombstone. That'll probably be about an hour or so. But the big event to me is the next day on Saturday, the 11 to 4 for the open house.
All right.
Because then we'll have a lot of people in and out.
And they can come in and look at the
around,
rooms, look at the downstairs where the shop's going to be.
I'll be doing tarot readings. Yeah. And we'll probably take people on tour of the store, even though it's not up and running yet. So they can kind of see where it is.
So ribbon cutting next Friday, 1 o'clock. But even more important, next Saturday, 11 to 4, in Tombstone, the Dragon Keeps Inn. So you want to go there. And
they'll be glad to have you.
Yeah. Now we're going to have to move on because, like I said, this man's got a lot of irons in the fire. That's just one of the things that he's got going on. So the other one is going to take a little bit more explanation, and I'm going to have him do that. And Erik, if you got any questions, jump in there because it's got some details. So, introduce your other business.
So, my other business is called My Warrior Ethos, LLC. It is a life coaching business. And I know that's the primary question on your mind. So, what is a life coach and what does he do?
Yeah.
Life coach to me is probably a little bit of a misnomer. I look at it as more being an accountability coach. So, you have somebody that's, maybe trying to figure out what do they want to do with their life, or maybe trying to get something done, or they have something that they're trying to work on and can't quite get there. That's where a life coach can come in and help kind of hold them accountable or help them down that path. So as a life coach, my job is not to tell you, well, you need to marry that person, or you need to take that job, or you need to go to that school. It's to help you discover if that's what you want to do. So let's say, for example, as a life coach, you came to me and you said, well, gee whiz, Rob, I really want to be a doctor. Okay, that's a lofty goal. I get that. I'm with you. What schools have you looked into as far as what you want to do? Okay. Have you taken all the testing to get there? Where are you at? Are you still in high school or are you out of high school? Okay, you're out of high school. Which 3 schools are at the top of your list as far as being that you might want to check that you want to go there? Have you applied to them yet? When do you plan to apply to them? And when and the thing is to nail them down to specifics. That's what an accountability coach does. Okay, so you're going to apply to these 3 schools. When are we going to have that done by? I need a date. Are we going to have it done by August 5th? We're going to have it done by August 6th. We're going to have it done by August 10th. Nail them down to specifics. Because what happens with a lot of people is they have all kinds of, and I kind of stole this line from Denzel Washington. He said, a dream without goals is just a dream. So you have to build in those goals in order to, you have to put in those goals in order to be there. Mm-hmm. Some of those goals are short-term goals. Some of them are medium-term goals, and some of them are long-term goals. But what you want to try to nail somebody down to is what do you want to do? Now, what I hopefully eventually this will morph into, and I've talked a lot to Kathy here at the Warrior Healing Centers. I really want to work with veterans on this, and the reason why I say that is this: we, as all 3 of us are veterans, so we understand how this goes. If you get out, a lot of people get out of the military and they say, "Oh, I'm going to go do this whenever I get out." But what ends up happening to it ends up falling by the wayside because in the military we're held to accountability to a standard every single minute of every single day. When you guys were in, do you ever remember a time when there wasn't somebody there to tell you what to do?
No.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What happens to us as veterans when we get out? All of a sudden we lose that accountability because there's nobody there to hold us to that accountability. And that's one of the things I want to do with veterans as a life coach is come in and be that accountability again for them, to hold them to that standard that they want to, that they're trying to achieve, whatever that goal is. It doesn't matter if they just want to go be a police officer, want to be a truck driver, want to go to college, want to, build their own business or whatever. As a life coach, I'm there to kind of cheer them on, keep that positive energy going for them, but also to start helping them set those goals and putting dates on them When are we going to have this done?
Right.
You know?
And you know, and I've mentioned in previous shows, you know, it all starts with an idea.
Yeah.
People have an idea, but then you have to act on it.
Right.
You know, and especially as veterans, because I think you're right, you know, especially if you retired, you know, if you spent your whole career in the military, you're used to that structure that the military gives. And then when you get out, sometimes a lot of people are lost. They're like, okay, trying to figure out how to make it in the civilian world.
Right.
You know, especially the real civilian. I call it the real civilian world because let's be honest, if you go right out of the military into a government contract job or a government job, pretty similar to the military. Kind of a little different, but not too much. But you get into the real civilian world where it has nothing to do with government, they can be lost.
Absolutely.
It's a whole new atmosphere, you know?
And another thing that really affects veterans, I think, and this is what hurt me about 10 years ago when my back went bad, because I was always involved in things. When I post-military, I got out, went right to work. I had been a martial arts instructor all those years, and I went right back to teaching martial arts to civilians outside the military whenever I got out. I was a first aid and CPR instructor for the Red Cross. So I always kept myself kind of focused on something. I always had something I was working on. When my back went bad and I didn't have anything to work on anymore, what I've learned is that veterans tend to have a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. If you don't have an outlet for that energy, it gets reflected right back inward. And you tend to kind of burn up is the best example I can give you. And I think that's what causes some of these suicides is these guys have no release for that energy all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. No direction, no idea what they want to do. You know, some of them are suffering from injuries that maybe prevent them from doing some things. You know, my back got so bad, I got to the point I was just doing pain management with my time off, going to work, get off, go home and do pain management, you know, the entire time I was off so I could just make it back to work the next day. That's no way to live, you know. And it took some work with getting with the right physical therapist. And I read a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, two retired Navy SEALs that talk a lot about their business with Echelon Front, how they basically go in and hold business management accountable, you know, teach them how to do the accountability, the same accountability they had as Navy SEALs in theater. So, but yeah, for me, it was just getting back on track with those things. And then as I built momentum, you know, I was able to kind of get myself, you know, going again. Now I've got two businesses, getting ready to finish my master's degree, going to start my doctorate in January. So, you know, how did I get there? Well, it was a matter, I just started holding myself accountable. Right. But a lot of veterans don't have those tools yet because there's that transition from being in the military to becoming a civilian and learning how to hold yourself self-accountable as opposed to somebody else holding you accountable. Yeah. Again, that's where I come in. And one of the pieces of equipment I have is called an eVolt 360. And so what the eVolt 360 does is it does a electronic reading of the body. It's a body scanner. And it gives you 40 readings of different things in your body, different your muscle mass, your visceral fat. It bases off of your height, weight, gender, age, body type, exercise level. And it comes back and it gives you some recommendations on maybe what you might want to take as supplements or what you might be missing in your body or whether or not you're just fine and just stay on the track you're on. It'll tell you when you're high in some areas and low in others. Maybe your calcium maybe not as high as what it needs to be.
So this is actually a device. Would I stand?
Yeah, 60 seconds. Yeah, you stand on it barefooted. You got these two handles you hold on to. It does its little scan. And
it scans my whole body. Mm-hmm. And then does a readout?
Yeah, it gives you a readout on a form. Up there. Yeah.
And tells you, okay, here's some things that you might be, issues you might be concerned about.
Yeah. And I want to be clear here now. This doesn't eliminate a doctor. If you think something's wrong with you, you need to go see a doctor. This just gives you some ideas on some things you might want to take a look at.
Healthy living.
On healthy living. Yeah, exactly. So like in my case, when I did mine, the first time I did it, it said that my biological age was 61 or 62, and I did it again, so it was 66. So yeah, it spits that out. So I was kind of embarrassed about that. But at the time, I was about 280 pounds. And since May 1st, I've lost almost 30. So it kind of motivated me to take a look at that. Even though I go to Planet Fitness about 3 or 4 days a week anyway to keep my back straight. But what it told me was that obviously there was something I was doing that was not right if I'd been able to balloon up to 280 pounds if I'm working out 3 days a week. That shouldn't happen. And so what I did was I actually downloaded one of those apps that tracks your calories. And I looked at it and I was like, holy smokes. It's not what I'm eating. It's just what I am eating, even though it's not a lot. It's just crammed with calories.
Yes.
And so I was ballooning up in weight. So again, there I fell back on tools that I'd gotten about being self-accountable and got myself back straightened out. But that's really what I want to do as a life coach with veterans or even with civilians. It doesn't matter. A lot of civilians that never went in the military have no idea how to hold themselves accountable or have somebody to hold them accountable to say, hey, when are you going to get this done?
Well, that sounds like it's something that really can help people because, again, and that's what the Warrior Healing Center is all about. We got veterans out there. They're solid individuals, but sometimes they need a little bit of a helping hand and give them that direction. Maybe they do have a good idea, whether it be to start a business or maybe go into a new line of work or a new education. And here we have, it's an example. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Not that you're old.
No,
but you're not young.
Yeah, no.
You're not young, and yet you're still going for a master's and a PhD.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly how old I am. I'm 57 years old, but I have no plan. A few years ago, if you had asked me, I said, "Yeah, since 62, I'm done. I'm just, there's just nothing left in the tank," because that's where my mentality had went as being a disabled vet. But as I went through the process of going back to physical therapy and getting my back straightened back out and getting where I didn't feel. I mean, here's the whole thing with the e-volt that I've tried to explain to people. The reason it's a good idea to get that body scan and to come out and take a look and see where you're at physically is if you feel like crap, you're going to perform like crap. There ain't no 6 ways around it. Mm-hmm. I don't care how motivated you are. If physically you feel like garbage, you're going to end up performing like garbage. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people is the reason why they're not aggressive about pursuing their goals is just because they're just physically just not there.
Physically and mentally tired.
Yeah, because it all combines together, and that's where I was at about 5 years ago.
Yeah. And so, and it could be a lot of things in your life that can cause that. I've even noticed myself personally. Like for example, I'm 65. I'm slowing down, but there's times when I'm bored and I lose my energy. And then I did a couple of shows on TV with National Geographic and History Channel. And when I went there to Sardinia to film these films about something I'm passionate about, my energy level just shot way up. I was up at 3 a.m. I'm ready to go. Each day we're going to go spend the whole day out shooting, and traveling and shooting all the scenes. And because it was something that was so passionate, for me and something I had been working on for 30 years. Yeah, my energy level just skyrocketed,
And that's kind of where I'm at with Warrior Ethos is the fact that for me, it gives me great joy to help somebody reach their fullest potential, to sit down and talk to them and find out, hey, what do you want to do? And somebody asked me not too long ago, so what if they want to make, something completely real? What if they want to make ukuleles? Well, what's wrong with wanting to make ukuleles for a living? Yeah. I mean, maybe you can't do that for a living, but there's other things you can get into that, woodworking and other avenues. I had when I was a school teacher, I had a kid that was interested in going to the NBA. Okay. Now, we all know that the chances of getting into the NBA are pretty minimal. Like I tried to explain to him, the best of the best of the best are at home sitting on their couch. That's just the honest truth when it comes to professional sports. And I don't know if he had topped out in his height yet, but he was probably 6'2", 6'3", and I tried to explain to him, look, the league is full of 6'2", 6'3" guards. You're not going to make it as a guard, at that height. And one of the things I explained to him was the fact that you have a great passion for basketball. I understand that. I totally support your dream to go to the NBA. Got no beef with that either. But set yourself up to be successful in another realm. So maybe you can't make it as a professional basketball player, but maybe you can make it as a physical therapist working with basketball players who are injured. Maybe you can make it as a business agent,
Yes.
Maybe you can get into the team management, there's plenty more jobs doing that kind of work than there is actually being a player on the floor. It doesn't make you any less part of the team. It just means you have a different role. And that gave him some food for thought about. So it's kind of like the same thing as when if I sit down and I talk to somebody and they're telling me what their passion is and what they're telling me is, I don't know if you're going to make any money at that, but what off of that can you still do that you can channel your passion that you want to do, but yet still make a living that's going to feed you and your family?
Yeah.
You have to have that discussion.
And it is a balance. My experience in life is, some people go into business or have an idea because they do want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do it because they have a passion.
Right.
If you're going into it and you don't have the passion, my opinion is there's less chance of success.
Right.
Because if you're passionate about something, you're going to be really good at it.
Right.
Now, even then, with the passion, it's still a challenge nowadays to have any small business. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It is for us. I mean, we're coming up on 5 years, and we're still struggling.
Yeah.
But we still have the passion. My wife is so dedicated to what she does. It's more than just the money, But you do like to make a little profit,
Yeah, that's exactly,
you like to put food on the table and be able to pay the rent or the mortgage and be comfortable. But I do find that most veterans that go into business, and usually they do have some income to carry them over, they're doing something they're absolutely passionate about. This is something that, I've been, like you said, your wife's been wanting to do this real bad, and now she's got the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think the key thing about what you're offering to people, especially veterans, is what you're offering is taking that idea and how to put it into action.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we got to come up with a plan.
Yeah, and showing them. I think a lot of people think maybe it's harder than it is. They think, I would love to do this, but I don't think I can.
Yeah.
And you could actually help show them that, hey, if you come up with a plan, this is realistic. It's doable.
Right. And I saw some of that when I was going through my physical therapy, was that when I first started kind of getting back to being on the well side of the ledger, so to speak, and I started going over Planet Fitness, the only thing I was doing at Planet Fitness was what they had showed me at physical therapy. That was it. 30 minutes, I was out. And so one day I'm walking out and I go, I wonder if I can do that machine right there. So I sat down, cranked out, okay, that wasn't too bad. So next time I come in, I got done, I did it again. Okay, well, that's not too bad. We'll add a little bit more weight on the next time, just see if, well, if I can do that machine, wonder if I can do that one. And then, then I was able to start building my strength back up, my endurance back up. And now I've got myself down to like a 12-minute mile on the treads. And I still have some days with my back that, just it'll floor me, it'll drop me. Mm-hmm. But they're not as opposed to the way it was before, where it was every day was level 7.
Right.
The minute you got out of bed to the minute you went to bed, it was just, level 7 on the scale. You asked me, I'm pain level 7, 8 today, whatever, normal day. Now I can honestly say most days are 2 or 3, sometimes a 4, on a really bad day. But there are some days I'll forget that I'm not, Superman, and I'm 57 years old, and, I'll work myself into the ground. I had one not too long ago, kind of pulled that little stunt and was down for a day until, kind of had to take some extra pain meds and, reassess. And
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay, here we go.
Don't get mad at me.
Okay.
But so you're going to offer this service to anybody,
mm-hmm.
but your focus is veterans. Are you going to provide veterans with any kind of veteran discount?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry for doing that to you, but I'm glad the answer is yes.
Yes.
Because that was one of my honest thoughts when you said, being here at the Warrior Healing Center, we're all focused on that issue. And so that's good to hear that.
Trust me, they're not going to. Yeah. It's not going to be very financial impactful on a veteran.
It's something that they can afford and still be able to get. Yeah. And it sounds to me like all your coaching is from personal life experience that you yourself have been through this.
Right, and that's kind of how I decided to do it, because I was kind of reading up on what life coaches do, and I thought, well, you know what, I've got all this experience that I've gathered over a myriad of different jobs I've worked, different experiences I've been through, different places I've been. I've been where every one of these veterans has been through, as far as being in the military, mm-hmm. what it's like to get discharged out, what it's like to try to deal with life afterwards, what it's like to be a disabled vet, what it's like to be a disabled vet fight with the VA, whatever the case may be, going back to school, just trying to become socially not awkward anymore, around civilians and whatnot. And what does
I didn't know what dragon meat tastes like.
Oh my God!
Really?
That's not funny.
Dragon meat tastes like
little chicken.
Yeah.
Little chicken.
I didn't mean to. I just.
Yeah, I saw you leaning forward. Now
I was like,
looked over
okay,
and
I realized we hadn't been paying attention to the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Okay, all right.
But but anyway, yeah, and I realized that in many ways I've been doing life coaching my whole life. I just didn't do it as a focused thing,
Mhm.
as a job title, or as even as just doing it as like a social type thing. As a martial arts instructor, obviously you're dealing with people and you're holding them accountable in class and you're setting goals for them and all that. And I just did it kind of as that. And there was a lot of things I discussed with students about life, because really the martial arts side of it, the movements and everything
Right.
else, is the side product. You're trying to build a better person.
Right. I've always heard that.
Yeah,
about martial arts.
yeah.
The philosophy, the mindset.
If you really never got the moves down right, but you became a better person, I always consider it a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, I realized that I'd been doing that, and I was like, well, why not just do that as a vocation? And again, like I said, I have no plans to leave Barnett's anytime soon. But sooner or later, much like we discussed, you start slowing down and you want to do something a little bit different, maybe not quite as taxing. So it's kind of like a retirement kind of plan for me. Is when
that was the idea of my store, to be
Yeah.
honest. It was kind of like, okay, maybe it's something I can, because I don't want to ever retire and just sit on the couch.
right. I could, yeah.
I want to have something that keeps me going. And, that's why me and my wife opened the business, was to, okay, maybe this is something I can retire to.
Yeah.
So I'm still busy, but it's just for me, and it's relaxed, and it's.
I can't remember which actor did this, but it was either Chris Pratt or Bradley Cooper, but one of them asked Clint Eastwood how he was able to maintain his energy level at the age that he's at, because he's still acting in movies into his 90s now, still filming. And his answer was, don't let the old man in. And it's, don't, just because you're a certain age should not limit you to what you want to do. So if somebody came to me as a life coach at 70 years old today, Rob, can you help me out, even though I'm 70 years old? Absolutely, because you can still have goals. You can still have drive.
Right.
You can still have something you want to do.
Right.
I mean, is it realistic to go back at 70 and try to get become a medical doctor? We could discuss that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. But,
but you could be realistic.
Be realistic.
But,
let's
there
see
is a lot of different things you can do.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not always about income. Sometimes an older person is just doing community service.
I know.
Getting involved in the community.
I know a great guy, and I hope it's okay if I drop a name here. But there's a guy named Ned Leto who works, I think I said that name right, who works, he's a volunteer with Sierra Vista PD. Guy's 82 years old and still gets out and does patrol.
No kidding.
Yeah. He'll take
and it's all volunteer work.
Yeah, it's all volunteer work.
Yeah. I mean, this is what the Warrior Hill is.
And he's a veteran, by the way.
They're a bunch of volunteers.
Yeah, and he's a veteran, too. He was, I think, Army back during the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's about just getting out there and making it happen.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate role model for me.
And then you took all your life experience, and then innovation.
Yeah.
What does he do? He goes out and finds technology, up-to-date technology with this body scan. It's called what again?
It's called the Evo 360.
So you go out and you take this modern body scan technology and combine it with life experience. So again, innovation. That's innovation.
And to me, it's a way to open up a door to a conversation. So a lot of veterans have issues with, I know one in particular I work with, he has a tough time talking about his experiences and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of veterans like that. So where do you start with somebody like that? Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about your health. Hop on the 360.
There you go.
Let's see where you're at.
Yeah.
Let's see where your health's at.
And then that could lead to
a lot of conversations.
A lot of other conversations.
Yeah. You have to have something to open that door.
Yeah. So, wow. So bed and breakfast. And this is kind of a new venture too. Am I right?
The life coaching?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely brand new.
Okay.
I started doing the planning about the same time we started this with the bed and breakfast. Well, let me back that up for a second. I started planning the life coaching about the same time we bought the bed and breakfast. That's when I first saw the e-bolt. I thought, you know what, there's an opportunity there.
Okay.
And so I made an investment, bet on myself, so to speak.
Yep.
I think that's the best investment you can make is on yourself. And there's, and it really kills me that people say, well, how do you learn to do this or how do you learn to do that? YouTube is a great tool that you can find anything on there, and people don't understand. There's actually things out there you can go out there that's even low cost, that you can get certificates and you can get education and you can get training. You don't have to go drop $50,000 over here at any college. You can. There's just all kinds of communities, even on Facebook, that you
just have to reach out. I remember in college they always talked about vicarious learning versus self-learning, and unfortunately, us as human beings, even if we think back when we were teenagers, we didn't want to listen to mom and dad much, right? So then we went out into the world and we had to learn the lessons ourselves the hard way.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is what my mom and dad were trying to explain to me, and I just learned a lesson. But man, if you can learn vicariously from somebody that's been there, done it, suffered the results of the mistakes, and and all that kind of stuff. The vicarious learning could be a big advantage, and that's basically what you're offering as a life coach. Is hey, there's some vicarious learning here. I can help you, and rather than you stumble and have to learn the hard way.
Exactly.
Some people want to learn everything the hard way, unfortunately, but and they pay the price for it if they do. But I'm a big believer in vicarious learning if you can do it. Even myself, I find the older I get, the more I think about what my dad taught me and said, and I was like, man, my dad was a pretty smart, wise man.
Yeah.
I just didn't appreciate it when I was a teenager.
Yeah, that's. I think that's true of all of us. Yeah, you don't figure it out until way later on in life.
So,
well, I like what you're doing because, like you talked about earlier, and I started thinking about when I got out in 2013, when we were making a slow transition, when the military basically taught you, this is how you create a resume. Here you go. Now go run with it. And then you still have that drive, that motivation, and that fire still in your system. Granted, you don't have someone in your ear motivating you to complete the task, but now it's upon you to go out there and get it done. But then for some, it's easy, like you said. You either become a contractor, maybe get onto the government sector, maybe even get into a civilian job or whatever that they wanted. Granted, but then there are others who, through time, are like not so lucky or whatever, or else they just lose that passion because they may get rejected here or they may get rejected there. So from what it sounds like, you're able to provide an individual is like, hey, I'm throwing these cards out and they're coming up blanks.
Yeah.
It's like, at least you could point them like going, well, have you considered this?
Right. Yeah.
I see what you have here. Do you have any other thing that's on your plate that you may want to reconsider or look at? So, because there's a lot of them. I came out with a lot of people, and then out of like a lot of people, it reminds me back when I went to college a long time ago. Look to your left and look to your right. Those are the ones that are not going to make it. I'm like, well, screw them. I'm not sitting next to nobody. So what does that tell me?
Yeah.
But at least it's good that you're able to give them that other avenue that they could go down. So, hey, check this out. And if you maybe look over here. I like that.
And I think, too, with a lot of people, they already know what the answer is. They already know it in their heart of hearts what the answer is. They just need to get it out of themselves. So sitting there being a springboard or a sounding board, so to speak, with somebody, letting them just talk, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, now I got it. Just takes them a minute.
You're absolutely right. Usually down deep, they know the answer.
They already know what the answer is. Yeah, they just need somebody to kind of drag it, a little push to get it out of them. Yeah. And of course, another thing too is like you're talking about, with which avenue should they take. Again with the accountability thing. Let's say I meet with somebody and they say, well, I'm going to have the ACT for college taken by August 30th. August 30th rolls around, they still don't have it done. Why do you not have it done? Mm-hmm. What's the limiting factor that's preventing you from getting this done? And then you can help them solve that limiting factor to get that task completed. But if you don't complete those tasks, if you don't have that plan to complete those tasks, you don't hold them to some kind of accountability that, it's well, I'm going to enroll in college. Well, when are you going to enroll in college? Well, I'm going to get to it. Okay, but when? Okay, what's the
they need that motivational push. Yeah. It's like they just don't build up to it. It's like, I'm going to do it. Are you? Yeah. It's like, come on, let's get out there.
Let's get out there and let's get it done. Let's attach a date to it.
All right. I'm going to move on because
I know you got one other thing you.
Time's running out, and again, I said at the beginning of this show that this is a man that has a lot going on, a lot of different irons in the fire, and it's some of it's we've talked about your businesses, but you also have an interesting club that you're involved in,
right?
Which has nothing to do with making money.
No, nothing.
But just another passion of yours.
Well, it's another way to spend money.
Another way to spend money. So it's another passion.
Right.
And it's, go ahead, Star Trek.
So, the Star Trek Club, which is now Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond, we started back in 2016. There are about 60 members that are loosely associated together.
Oh, wow, that's a pretty big group.
Yeah, if you go on our Facebook page, I think there's about 60 at the present moment. And we're tied in with some groups up in Tucson, the Tucson Star Trek Club. We get together and just kind of share our love of Star Trek. And then my wife and I kind of expanded on it this past year and said, to get more active members involved was to open up to all kinds of genres. So, if somebody wants to be involved in Battlestar Galactica, you got Star Wars fans, you got Supernatural fans, you got fans of Stranger Things. It doesn't matter, what you're a fan of. We want you to be able to come in and share that. So, like the movies we have scheduled at the Dragon's Keep Inn over the rest of this year, we're showing Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan in September for its 40th anniversary. We're showing The Thing, I think, in November, the original Thing with
the
Kurt
original
Russell.
one.
Yeah, because its 40th anniversary, I think, is this year. We're showing Men in Black because this is its 25th anniversary, and then we're showing Avatar in December, right before the new one comes out.
Okay.
So we wanted to be able to share because everybody out there has a different thing that they like. Like my wife could care less about Star Trek. Now she'll come and do events with me because I set up booths at different places and do things for Star Trek. She'll come and help, but she could care less about Star Trek. But her big thing is Star Wars.
Oh,
she's all about Star Wars.
Wow, that's interesting because they're kind of similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, if you ask Gene Roddenberry, he'll say Star Trek survived because of Star Wars. And if you ask George Lucas, he'll say Star Wars came into existence because of Star Trek. They really felt that they kind of had a symbiotic relationship between the two of them as far as their survival. But, yeah,
and the deep meaning behind their episodes. I think that was the key.
For Star Trek in particular.
Yeah, because I watched them when they first came out in the 60s. Yes, I'm that old.
Yeah.
That I watched original TV shows of Star Trek. And, and even as a young person, that you would say, wow, that show had some kind of deep meaning. Sometimes I maybe didn't fully understand it back then, but yeah.
So I think somebody's asking, it's not, just to be clear, it's not a drive-in. What we're doing is we're showing movies in our common area at the Dragon's Keep Inn Store and More in Tombstone, 1027 East Allen Street in Tombstone. So if you go to the club's Facebook page, which is Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond, you can RSVP to attend one of the films if you want to.
I did add both the Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond in the comments section, so that you can click on that, as well as the Dragon's Keep Inn. So you could go ahead and check on both of those links.
Okay, thank you, Erik. You're always on the tech side.
I just came from Tucson. I'm still driving in my mind.
You got it covered. So wow. So you got the bed and breakfast going on. You got the warrior ethos going on.
Little sci-fi on the side.
A little sci-fi, but not a little one. This is a big club.
Yeah, this is a decent club. Yeah,
you guys are doing a lot. It sounds like you're doing a lot.
We did the first 5 years at C4 over here until COVID hit, and of course I haven't done anything since. And that was the sci-fi convention they had over here.
Oh yeah, Cochise County.
Yeah, and they're talking about bringing it back, but right now it's just in the talking stages portion of it. But I've worked Tucson Comic Con with the Tucson Club up there. Got to meet, as far as the Star Trek side of things, some of the people I've got to meet. I got to meet Bill Shatner a few years ago, and that was we don't have enough time for that discussion. It was not a good meeting, not because of anything to do with him and me. It's just the way they handled it was horrible. I got to meet Gates McFadden, who played Dr. Beverly Crusher on the first
Next
one.
Generation.
Yeah, I got to meet Tony Todd, who played Worst Brother in several of the episodes. He was as a guest star. So I've gotten to meet a few of the stars and kind of the off to the side stars over the years.
Yeah.
just working the cons, not having to pay anything to see them. Just they would come out and talk to us and whatnot. So,
are you going to this year's one? Are they gonna, because I think it's from the 2nd to the 4th.
Yeah,
of September.
I doubt I'm going to make that one up there because of us just being opened up over here and everything. I think it's going to be a bridge too far for me this year. So, but if they do C4 back over here, we will be at that with our booth set up. Yeah, so absolutely, we've already told them 100% we'll be there to support. So
you know why I think you got so much going on. This man, you know what he did in the Navy?
What did he do?
He was on a submarine. Okay. Now I just think
a lot of time to think.
Yes, I think he was cooped up in this submarine too much while he served in the Navy. Then when he got out, he just exploded. He said, "Okay, I got things I want to do." And
just shot out of there like a torpedo and said, "This is what I want."
I just really truly believe that life is meant to be lived. And I went through a spate there for about 7 or 8 years where I didn't do very much and kind of hung around the house and like I said, let my pain kind of rule me and made the awful mistake. No knock against anybody at the VA, but they definitely weren't my best cheerleader at the time, and it's one of those type of things that I think life is meant to be lived, and you should get out there and do it and chase your passions and chase your dreams. And hey, if you fail, it's like Teddy Roosevelt said in his speech about the arena. At least you won't be with those cold and timid souls that never did anything in the first place.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I've tried quite a few things in the past that have failed.
If you fail.
And you're like, okay.
Brush yourself off, back up. That's how you learn.
My only advice there is don't take off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
If you do try a venture, always assure yourself, if this, do the what if. If this does not succeed and it fails, can I handle the loss?
Right.
Can I absorb this loss? And I that's been one of my main principles.
Right.
Don't chew off more than you can, or don't
bite off more than you can.
Thank you. Don't bite off more than you can.
We knew where you were going.
Yeah. Another one of those sayings that my dad said all those years. Growing up, he always said that.
You don't hear them anymore. I think
you don't.
I think that's a big problem with some of our younger folks is they don't hear those old sayings anymore.
Yeah.
That you and I take for granted.
They're gold. I saw an earlier show we were talking about what we're trying to do in our community is better. My dad always says better to be a big fish in a little pond than a little fish in a big pond. We're in a little pond in Sierra Vista, Cochise County. We're a little pond, but every one of us is a big fish.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing in town impacts the whole community here.
Right.
What he's doing with his business impacts his community. We all are participating and affecting each other. We're big fish.
Yeah.
In this little pond. And that's what's important because this is where we live. That's where we want to concentrate,
Yeah, we want to have a great community.
And that's what this show is about. Cochise Spotlight. That's what this show is all about. Highlighting veterans that are active in the community. Either they own a business or going to start a business, or they're involved in city affairs, community affairs, nonprofit organizations, clubs like the Star Trek. Well, not the Star Trek Club.
Cochise County Sci-Fi and Beyond, but
Sci-Fi Beyond.
Star Trek is definitely a part of it.
I'll get that straight. So anything else you got going on?
Is that not enough?
Or is that enough?
Yeah.
Wait, there's more.
Well, we keep the show to about an hour. We're at an hour, and I'm like, man, we could have gone a lot longer on all this stuff. And I'm willing to bet that if we stayed on the air, we'd probably have more things that you're involved in that we haven't even discussed yet.
Yeah. I just don't believe in sitting at home. I just think that's the
jack of all trades.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that's the fastest way to your grave. Yeah. I honestly God believe that.
Well, I had fun on this show.
Yeah, so did I. It was great.
I'll be honest because I didn't know you before tonight. And I do a little bit of research on my guests before they're going to come on the show. So I did that during the week. And initially I was like, wow, I got confused. I was like, what is this guy actually into? I mean, it was like, and so I kept digging. I actually called him. I said, okay, I'm a little confused because you got a lot of different things going on. What's your focus? And then I understood after you explained things to me. Yeah.
What's my focus? Well, what day is it?
And then I got excited. I was like, wow, this is going to be a good show. This is going to be a good show. We got a lot of things to talk about. But we are going to have to cut it off because we pretty much stick to an hour. Any other last comments?
Got one right there.
Okay. What's that one?
Actually, it's Rob, R-O-B. Not slamming anybody, but it is Rob, R-O-B. But I will be at the mall this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the First Saturday business.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to stop in and get an eVolt scan done to see where your health is at, please feel free to stop by my booth and say hi, and we'll talk.
It's confidential, by the way, right?
Yes.
The scan's confidential.
Yeah, we don't share it to anybody.
We don't share it with anybody else. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, I might be a little intimidated to get that scan and find out, maybe I'm not as...
Conversation strictly between me and you.
Maybe I'm not as good a shape as I had hoped. Yeah. But I could see where it could really help.
Yeah.
And maybe give you that.
And that's the whole thing right there. We're trying to help people.
Yeah, get that guidance and stuff. Fantastic. So, again, Cochise Spotlight. This is where to be every Thursday at 5 p.m. We have a different guest every week and exciting stuff.
Who do we have next week?
We never disclose who's going to be on next week. Because
give him a hint. Give him a taste.
He's another person that's got more than one thing going on. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think now his stuff isn't new. He's been around for a while doing what he's doing in Sierra Vista. So, you have to tune in every week to hear what's going on. And then we've got 2 more shows after that already booked. I've got another special guest that I'm planning to have on in September that has done something really exciting outside the country, actually. So it's something. So we're going to have a lot of interesting guests coming up. And so stay with us, 5 o'clock Thursdays, Cochise Spotlight.
Can I close this out?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That was perfect.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.